Maria Jacobsen, the Danish missionary, she belonged to a missionary, at that time it was called KMA, Women's Missionary Workers. She started her missionary work in Harput early 1907. As a nurse, she started working in an American hospital. When the massacre started in 1915, the Danish missionaries stayed there in Harput. Because the Danish at that time, they had the permission, they didn't participate the First World War, they had the neutral position. So Maria Jacobsen at that time sheltered around 3,000 to 4,000 Armenian orphans in different shelters. And during that time, Maria Jacobsen had written her most prominent and very important diaries, what was happened during that time, what she had witnessed, the massacres which was happening specifically in Harput area. Maria Jacobsen stayed in Harput until 1919. Then she moved back to Denmark, and they invited her later to USA to continue and helping nearest relief for fundraising. Because the Danish missionaries, KMA and Nearest Relief, they had a very good collaboration working together. She goes for 6 months to United States, moving from one state to another, helping and talking about what has happened in Anatolia, in Turkey at that time. After 6 months, she decides to go back to Harput and continue her missionary work. But at that time, Turkish authorities, they don't let any foreigners to re-enter to Turkey. So she comes to Lebanon. At first, she starts her work at the refugee camps. Registration, collecting data about each orphan, about each refugee. During that time, to Lebanon arrived around 30 to 35,000 Armenian genocide orphans. Later, they decide to open an orphanage. So the first place they had chosen was Zuum-Keyil. The problem was that at the Zuum-Keyil orphanage, there was a water shortage, especially during the summer. So the water was very important for the orphans, for the hygiene of the orphans. They started searching for a new place. They moved towards Saida, south of Lebanon, and then opened an orphanage there, and the number of orphans in Saida, in Sidon, was around 400 orphans. This was a very large number, and they stayed there until 1928. In 1928, KMA, Women's Missionary Workers, they agreed to purchase this property, the Nearest Relief Boys Orphanage in Jbeil, Byblos, to be converted to a Danish bird's nest orphanage. So Maria Jacobsen in 1928 with 400 orphans, and some of the orphans of Nearest Relief, she moves to Jbeil, in Byblos, from 1928 until 1960, when she passed away. Every day at the bird's nest, all had to do homework, take care of the livestock, do housekeeping, and be punctual. Because Maria Jacobsen believed that besides from love and security, discipline, handwork, daily routines, fresh air and exercise in a beautiful nature, learning to be self-sufficient, and the Word of God were the best remedies against the traumas suffered by all the Armenians at the bird's nest. In 1970, KMA wanted to minimize their work in Middle East, and they gave this property, bird's nest, to Armenian church, Armenian Catholicosate, to continue the mission with orphans, with children. And until now, this center, this school, boarding school, Bird's Nest Orphanage, is under the supervision Armenian Catholicosate. Bird's Nest started as a dream with Maria Jacobsen. This dream starts in Harput and continues with Bird's Nest. The dream still continues. And it's very, very humanitarian dream to help the children, to help the others. Maria Jacobsen was this light to the coming generation, that how we can help the others, how we can make some changes in others' life, how we can turn those people from death towards life and continue their life.